Okay. So far we've worked with string variables and just done a basic get some information from the user and use it to display things. The most common sort of thing we would like is we'd like different types of numbers. Now, most programming languages understand multiple sorts of numbers. There's integers, which are whole numbers, and some form of decimal number. Now, the one that we're going to be using is something called a float. It's not just a decimal number, it's actually a number, a bit like scientific notation. It can represent very big numbers, very small numbers, negative numbers. Effectively, we're going to use it for capturing any other type of number we would like. There are a couple of things to be careful with floats. And we're also going to work out how to get these numbers in from a user using input strings. So what we've got is, so far we've got the name variables. A variable is a named piece of memory that contains some data. And the data in this case is at the moment is about Frodo. We're going to add two more bits of value to it. His age is 75 years and his height is 1.2. Now, for numbers, you don't put units on the end. The complexity of adding units and taking them in and out, that can cause problems. So we normally are very precise when we ask about someone giving us our age, say what sort of number do we want them to enter. Height, what sort of number do we want them to enter? Please give it as a decimal in meters, so they don't have to put the units on the end. There's two commands that we're going to use that convert these into numbers. Int takes an age variable and will take the text of a 7 followed by a 5 and change it into the number 75. And the float height will change the number, or the string saying 1.2 and turn it into a decimal number that is 1.2. With a little caveat, it probably isn't exactly 1.2, but it's close enough most of the time. So let's just do a quick program that will get this stuff together. And I'll be using what we've done before. Okay, so we've got a basic registration program linked from previous one when we're doing strings. So this is where we tell the user what they're doing, be nice to the user. We get these 3 bits of information at the moment, their full name, surname, home, create a username for them, and then confirm that this is the information we have. So let's get in the values for the age. So we want to ask them how old are they. Your age in years. And we want that height. To be a hobbit, you must be Cirque's height. Your height in meters. Okay, so if I was to run that now, all the input commands leave us with values that are only strings. So as part of my processing, I'm going to turn these numbers, or even on the input validation. So I'm going to do it here because of something called input validation. So we're going to validate these. And what will happen is there are times when this will actually cause problems. So we've got age as an integer is equal to, and if you remember the slide, the command was int. So we're going to do int on their age. And it's not good practice to keep changing your type. So I called this age int, or actually age years. It's probably better. To make the difference between the two variables. If you keep changing, if I tried saying age now as int age, that could cause me problems in reading the code later. An alternative is to do this all in one line. So I'll do the second one as an example. So instead of doing, actually let's do the height meters. Here's a float, and it's based upon the height input. So we can now save this, run it, and we've got some new data to look at. So let's run it. Full name, Frodo, Baines, lives in the Shire, and his age is 75, height in meters 1.2 meters. So we've now got him registered as Baggins Frodo, and let's have a look at some of the variables. So let's do print on age, and if I do type on age, it will tell me what type of variable it is. So we've got 75, and it says it's a string. Let's do age years, Y-R-E-S. And now we've got 75 as an integer. That means we can do calculations on the age in years now. And we've got the same thing with the height. And we've got a string holding 1.2, and if we print height meters, we now get told it's a float of 1.2. So we only actually typed this in here, and it's changed it into text. An alternative that's often used, and you might see is used around, is doing this all in one. So I could get, rather than having two variables, I could do int on the input to make it work, and I then don't need this line. I could do the height straight to a float on the input, so it goes around the input, so that this follows your normal podmas, bigness type thing. You look at the command to be run, set the variable age to be equal to, do the input first because that's on an inside bracket which contains text, so do the text first, then get the text from the user and try changing it to an integer. So I'll run this again, and we'll do Samwise Ganges. I'm not sure if this is the right spelling for it. Where does he live? He lives in the Shire as well. His age, a little bit younger, only in his 50s, and his height is 1.18. So those numbers have all come in. I can now print age and its type. And we've now only got the integer type around with an age. Same thing goes for the height. Type of height. And height. 1.18, and it's a float. I'm just going to run it once more and show you if I don't try typing in an integer. So we've got Pip. Can't remember what Pip's surname is. Where do you live in the Shire again? And say your age in years. Say you try writing it in letters. Now Python doesn't know how to change this number 70 written in words into a number. So it actually throwing us out an error saying the value, you can't create an integer from some text 70 or an integer in base 10 from 70. And that's a common error which we'll eventually start sorting out and we'll deal with later. Okay, that's the end of that.